Good morning, guys. How you guys doing? All right, so I'm live on YouTube and X right now. So if one side thinks I'm talking to myself, it's because I'm talking to another platform. um, let's see if your comments can show up in StreamYard. Okay, I see. How you guys doing? And my son's doing well, thank you. Yeah, just getting like a breathing test done to make sure everything's good there. Morning, guys. Vacation, Samwise. Anonymous Moose, tongue tie. Ashley, what's up, guys? Noah, Oscar, AJ, what's up? Could you please check XMR? And Cubic spelled backwards. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, let's just go over Bitcoin really quick. Let's see. We'll just hide this little pop-up. Okay, so Bitcoin is still range bound in what could be an ascending broadening wedge. We got this ascending resistance, ascending support, right? Typically, these break to the downside, but you should prepare for both scenarios. It all depends on which side is captured as support or resistance first. What technically happens is we have low confidence at the start, and then the volume starts to pick up as traders are a little bit more confident in this zone. So like so that's what normally generates like an ascending broadening wedge kind of structure like this. And right now we are at the value area high. We just got acceptance back inside the value area after grabbing all liquidity from these highs here, because we stacked the liquidity here and here and here. Never was taken. Even here, we didn't take it. But yeah, up here, we grabbed all liquidity that's stacked throughout this whole entire zone here. So if we look at the local price action and forget about everything else, then basically the bias would be short. Like, where's the liquidity that's left? And we have liquidity down here, liquidity stacked down here. And the behavior of these wedges, that's the reason why they normally break to the downside, is because we grab a bunch of liquidity from the way up, and then we have a really boring measurable target of the bottom of the structure. So you don't typically want to trade the break of the structure. You want to try to front run it at like the value area high or the top side where the resistance is, because the R&R is almost never worth it in these kind of structures. So trying to get the internal setup to prepare for the external break. Okay. So that's Bitcoin. So yesterday I was bullish, right? When we were down here. And today I'm bearish. Internally right now, we do look like we're trying to recover back up. So we might come back up above this value area high. And that's just based on the bias of this structure. Like if we end up getting the break here, we'll have a measurable move. It's really small, but it's still worth noting, especially if you're already in an existing short, that if we end up, the main boss here is the VWAP. If we get back above the VWAP, then this measurable target will be hit pretty much instantly after. And then we can maybe prepare for enough structure to define a short, and then use this momentum as a guide right here to tell us when to prepare for that short. And I don't mean short when this breaks. I mean set an alarm for when this breaks, and then see what the structure looks like, find your key level, and then trade off the break of the key level. So that's what we're kind of waiting for. Unless you're already in on this, like yesterday, I didn't give a signal per se. What I started doing is if I don't have a signal, I'll still tell you guys like my mindset on the current positioning of the asset. And I'll show you guys what I mean for all those who aren't in the community. We started doing, let me see, I'm in the wrong server here. There we go. Yeah, we started doing these like key level alerts and confluence zone alerts. So now I'll let you guys know when to be biased for short and when you could be biased for longs, and what kind of confluences are in those zones. We have like a list here that would typically be confluences within those zones. So you can basically count on using this as like an indicator to tell you when to prepare for a short. And when the structure or your rules are all aligned, you can basically think of it like Kyle confluence. And if all the Kyle confluence is aligned, then you can use that to help you with your trade setups. All right, and the key levels, similar. You guys know about the key levels, basically how I trade them. Basically, there's some levels that, like for example, this one, that if broken, a large amount of confluences occur, liquidity, buy side liquidity or sell side liquidity is grabbed, and usually induces a large amount of trade participants to jump in, and so you can normally get a trade off of it. So if you have the combination of those like bearish or bullish confluence zones and a key level, then you can count on a really good trade setup. But yeah, I'll still obviously do my normal trade setups where I tell you my stop loss, my target, and all that stuff too. Right? Just like this. But yeah, as you guys want to let you know, I'm going to try to push up for more to help you guys out a little bit more. Right now, it does look like Bitcoin might be trying to break this. It's more like a 5-minute structure. Yeah, we're getting above the 5-minute highs. We just get a 5-minute break of structure coming in a moment. Yeah, the 5 minutes was the high is 105,412. Yeah, so we just got the break of structure technically. It's really small, but you want to have the full body candle close above this, and then we're very likely going to get that move right to the VWAP. So we'll see how that goes. The candle just closed, so it just confirmed. So we should get that move right to the VWAP very soon. All right. So that's Bitcoin. Right now, we're just waiting on, I'm hoping for more structure around here. We're on our way to tap that VWAP and see if we can find out if we can break past it. And what'd be really nice is the fact that the VWAP is going to be flush with the value area high. So if we get that confluence of the VWAP being here alongside with the value area high, then our structural confirmation will likely give us both a break at the VWAP, a break into the value area, and a change of character occurrence, and a break of momentum, which is pretty much all my rules. That's all my rules lined up in one spot. So if I get that, then I'm be jumping in for a short for sure, and I'll be targeting the value area low at 103,900 while being mindful of the POC along the way down. This point of control is actually relatively strong. Like we just bounced off the volume shelf that's just prior to it. So we got to watch that along the way down. So we'll set, what I'll normally do is I'll set pre-alarms to prepare me for the POC if I'm in a short or in a long. So a pre-alarm, you typically want to have like a horizontal ray like this on the volume shelf right prior to the POC. So it'll look a little bit like this one here, for example. Let's make it white. And notification, I normally, for these ones, I normally set once per bar close. Or no, so only once, sorry. Okay, cool. I know it's a little early for that alarm, but yeah, I just want to show you guys an example. So yeah, Ty, yeah, we were just talking about the setups that we're preparing for, because I I'm not going to trade this long, even though the probability of it going up is pretty high. Bounced off the POC volume shelf, bounced off uptrending momentum, just broke an inverse head and shoulder structure. It's just this VWAP that keeps me out. So if we could anticipate the move to the VWAP, but we could get a harsh rejection off of it. But I'm hoping that we break right through it because it's kind of young. And the earlier side of a VWAP reset, because we had that reset right here, the VWAP isn't as strong as it is. It gets more and more. The strength builds over time throughout the day. So around like 9:30, around or the silver bullet period around like 11 a.m. It gets a little bit pretty strong in comparison to what it would be right now. But you still got to take it seriously because other traders are going to react off of it. All right, so that's Bitcoin. Just a waiting game until we get that bearish confluence. Let's see, I just accidentally clicked on a button. There we go. But until then, we can look at the assets you guys have requested in the chat. Okay, so let's see what we have. We got first request was XMR. So we can look at that. See if we can find any setups. I will draw on this chart here what I'm going to be preparing for. And that's what I'll be jumping in on my short here. Okay, so open. We have an XMR chart, right? No, we do not. I think I keep saying I'm going to make one. Look at it on KuCoin. Okay, so KuCoin, the last time we were looking at it, we were preparing for a potential short off this break because we had the confluence of being above a previous value area high. We just tapped. Yeah, at that time, we just tapped this previous value area high as well, right here. But then we ended up getting a break of structure outside of the local value area here. Let me just pull a fixed range from here to here. And we got this is the break of structure here I was talking about. And we came up, we got another one internally. Then we broke out, got another continuation break of structure. And then we basically double topped where we get this ascending channel. Bit of a regression trend right here. We just used it as resistance. On an arrow here, get that break of structure. Now we're coming back down to the previous value area. So I'd mark your previous value area high. We do know that we have one here too. So during times of uncertainty like that, if you're afraid of one value area being honored support prior to another one, draw your momentum like this and just watch your levels that would enact a change character occurrence. And then you can use the confluence of that to help define a potential long. And right now on the 5-minute time frame, this is our change character level. And that will help tell you what level is going to be honored to form support. And that also helps you from trade analysis. If you're ever afraid of taking action on something because you're worried about one area being honored versus another, then you just wait for the change of character reaction off of it, and that will help you feel a little bit safer about your setups. Or when in doubt, stay out and just look for something that seems safer. You don't need to fight for your money in this space. People always try to take every single trade that they can find when they can just isolate the ones that feel safer, have the least amount of barriers, have the best risk to reward ratio, and just focus on them instead. So if you can analyze 10 different assets, try for like a week or so, only picking one out of those 10 and pick the one that seems the safest or the easiest to trade. And I promise you your win rate will go up. Okay, so that is XMR. As a waiting game, XMR looks like it's actively bearish, but positioning itself to be bullish very soon. Whereas Bitcoin's kind of the opposite. It's well, not opposite. It's actively bearish right now, but we want it to be better positioned for a short rather than the current conditions that Bitcoin's in right now. Let's go back to Bitcoin's chart, and internally it looks like it's trying to get a push up, but it's technically bearish right now. Okay, we're in a daily golden pocket too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and Vacation wants us to look at Cubic. I think he might be at work, so we gotta rush through this really quick. Okay, so Cubic is consolidating pretty tightly. I'm not sure if you could trade that. Well, you could trade that, but we got this ascending. We got this little channel here, building a potential flag against the macro point of control. It's a really strong level right here. Getting slight undercuts to it, but I haven't adapted the POC in a little while, so it might have evolved from here to here. But yeah, we're flush against this level here. We can see that we are seeing signs of accumulation on Cubic. We do have this ascending channel, which makes me a little nervous about the liquidity that's stacking below it and the ones that we're kind of taking. But because our level here is horizontal, we're not taking very much liquidity from the upside. We're just stacking more and more and more and more on the upside right here. So that makes me a little bit more biased to be long based on this posture. And that's why like the inverse head and shoulders that you see are usually strong breaks to the upside and are actually the structure that typically hits their measurable targets a lot more than others because of the amount of liquidity that they induce and the fact that they align with a lot of traders' rules. When you get that change of character occurrence, you get Fibonacci traders jumping on the right shoulder. You get breakout traders trading on the break. You got momentum traders trading alongside the momentum. So there's lots of confluences on inverse head and shoulders, and head and shoulders. That's why they usually tend to play out to their target a lot more than most structures. But yeah, what we want to see for Cubic, we got two key levels. Let's see, we got this one here would give us a change of character occurrence. And then this one will just give us a break of structure. It's getting squeezed against those two levels. If one were to confirm as support or resistance first, then you'd have your direction. So we get this break, probably pull back off the POC, retest higher high. Then you want to watch this ascending momentum and watch this on the order books and see if there's a sell wall. Because if there's a sell wall, then we're likely going to stay inside this ascending channel. If there isn't a sell wall, then maybe Cubic will finally start to run back up. Because this thing is just chugging along, man. We got the 200 daily EMA right here that we could come up and try to grab, but we got to watch the order books, or not the order books, the order books you show, we should be watching them, but we got some order blocks here alongside with these highs where liquidity could be taken and they come back down. But you might see confluence of the 200 EMA kind of catching up before that occurs, and so you can have the potential SFP or liquidity sweep up here while tapping that 200 EMA and drive Cubic back down and hopefully start an uptrend to its macro value area high up here. The bearish case scenario is we already marked that key level right here. But again, watch the buy walls alongside the momentum. We have a macro value area low here. So we have some confluence converging right here. So we got to just watch that levels along the way down. But if we end up breaking this as well, then the measurable target for this ascending channel is where the liquidity ends. It could fall all the way down to the macro momentum here, which has been holding it up since, yeah, I don't even want to say that number, but ever since these lows down here around, yeah, early May 19th. So we could come down, grab all that liquidity from here, and see if this is guarded, potentially by a wall, but we could come grab that as well. That's what I'd be preparing for if we end up breaking this and this for the continuation. So that's Cubic. I hope that helps you out, man. Let's go back to Bitcoin, see what it's doing. Is it still trying to get towards that VWAP? Yeah, still kind of chugging along towards VWAP. I got slight evolving momentum here. The pace of the buyers might be picking up. Okay. So yeah, we got some confluence here. We have the liquidity above these highs and the VWAP that could drive it down if it's used as exit liquidity instead of buy side liquidity. Can we look at Solana? Yeah, we can look at Solana. We got link request. We got ZBCN. Okay, so ZBCN. Do we have a chart for that? We do now have a chart for that. Okay. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Last time we talked about it, looks like we were talking about a short. Yeah, so that if you jumped in on the short, congrats, man. It looks like it played out really well. We had a little awkward positioning, but yeah, initially you would target these lows here, and to grab the liquidity from this double bottom structure when it's a relatively young valley area, but the POC was relatively strong from this regression trend that was built up here because there's a lot of crunch action here. So when we came up, we seen it act as resistance, double topped off of it, and then fell down, hit the target, and then extended past the target a little bit more and grabbed the liquidity from this low here. Came back up, and now we've been in kind of like a range bound price action for a little bit before losing it recently. Okay, so we can delete that. We don't need that anymore. So I hope that helps you out. Let's get this updated from here to here. And we can include the demand zone from here. We came up, essentially used the valley area as resistance with a really aggressive kind of like V-shaped rejection. It'd be tough to jump in on that one unless you get on here. We got the downtrending momentum that we can monitor here. And we're coming down to a previous POC. Get this little demand zone right here. Let me just see something really quick. Yeah, we got a aggressive. I'm going to mark this level really quick here. All right. There's some demand confluence here. So I'd mark this whole, I'll box this whole level right here. Send it back. There we go. All right. And all right. So that's the equilibrium point of the. Gotcha. All right. So here for ZBAC or CBCN, we got a previous point of control, previous valley area high, got a demand zone here, a relatively strong point of control within this zone. So we got to monitor this level for a change of character occurrence. If you get the opposing change of character, right here, or off the top of this, then you could prepare for a potential reversal, and I would be targeting this supply concern right here if I were to jump in along. If we break past that, then awesome. But take this zone seriously. If I were to box this zone too, this will look like a little bit like this. We could establish a range here too. There we go. So that's CVCN. We still need, like, it's on a free fall right now, so you can't trade it. But once you get that structural confluence, get that posing change of character, then you can get on a long to prepare for up here as resistance. And you have the confluence of the downtrending momentum. So the momentum's only real if there are sell orders waiting. So make sure you check the order books to see if there are sell orders waiting, because you don't want these trend lines to keep you out of trades unless there's an actual reason, right? So if you say, for example, you're trading here and you're worried about this keep weighing down the price, which you should be, check the order books. And if they're clear, then you can anticipate a breakout rather than it to suppress the price down further and to create like a deeper short squeeze. All right, so that is CBCN. I hope that helps you out, man. Again, just reach out to me in the Discord if you need more information on that. But that's what we're kind of waiting on. And if we look at the evolving momentum, it suggests that you could get the change of character within the next 4 hours or so. And so basically after into the PM session, we could get that reversal. Unless we use this as support, then it could happen a lot sooner. We can see it happen within the next 2 hours or so. But it's a 15-minute time frame, so there's not very much time to generate that kind of structure. We'd have to have a pullback within the next 45 minutes. Okay, cool. Let's go back to, let me save that because I don't know if this is set for autosave. It is. Okay, we're good. So let's delete that. Delete cubic. We got that. Shanti, I was really hoping for that Batman suit. Guess it was only a dream. Yeah, I didn't know if you were serious or not, but I'll tell you one thing, man. That thing is, it's sweaty, bro. Like I was in that suit for like 12 hours trying to record that 2-minute video. So yeah, I'm gonna try my best to avoid it. I promise I'll wear it again soon in October, maybe. Yeah. So Solana next request, Litecoin, Link. So Link was the next one, I believe. I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody. Link. Okay. Link, what are you doing, man? Bouncing off a previous value area low. Now, Link is a really good trader's asset. If anyone who wants a good asset for range trading, like this thing's a boss for that kind of stuff. And you get relatively decent trend-based moves too. When you catch it on the move, it typically tends to trend for a bit, like while ranging in between the trend, like really well. So if you want something a little bit more beginner friendly or easy to trade, I'd recommend Chainlink for sure. Even if you don't want to hold the asset, I'd recommend like trading it. Okay, so yeah, recently we had this like bear flag posture here. We already hit the measurable target. If you grab the mast from the high to the support, click drag to the resistance prior to the breakout, we're at the area where you expect seller's exhaustion, and we're ranging into that zone now. Right here, we could pull a fixed range volume profile here to here. We're currently at the value area high. We just mitigated this full supply risk. We tapped into this one. So it's got a little weaker. We can box this zone until the mitigation, right where that wick is. Send it back. Okay, so we here, if we extend further back up, you can prepare for a reversal back down. We have some confluence of a previous value area low of a previous range, so we can see it act as resistance from there. We got liquidity that just got added here, and we still have a supply risk here. Because when we had this impulsive move here, impulse move, base, another fast move down, you can assume that there could be residual sell orders in that area. So it's good to mark every single time you see a fast move, little base, fast move, mark those zones. Okay, whether it be uptrending or downtrending, this would be considered supply. This is considered a form of demand. And being aware of them on your charts at all times can help you a lot with saving you from staying in your trades too long, or it can help you with potential setups for jumping into reversals. We're currently at the active value area high. The structure kind of sucks to define a potential short. We kind of want to see maybe like a higher high first. Maybe jump in on a potential SFP here, because right now we're on the hourly. Let's zoom out on the 15. Yeah, even the 15 doesn't really define a good spot to prepare for a safe short. We want to have something that will provide us a change of character occurrence alongside with the confluence of being at the very high. Or at least I do. That's what I prefer when I trade. But yeah, we do have an SFP opportunity potentially here. So if we come up, grab that liquidity, sweep it, close back inside of range, then we can start. We need to build a little bit of base here to make it safer. But that could be a front run to a change of character occurrence if we get the higher high, because this will become the strong low. So yeah, we need that higher high to help give us confidence in a short to the value area low. If we get a break of structure in here, you could technically take the short, but your percentage win rate would be higher if you got yourself a change of character occurrence instead. And this would be your strong low. If you took that break of structure entry, you got to worry about the current active momentum of buyers that could induce a move back up, and the fact that liquidity is building here. So trade safely if you jump in on the break of structure, because this strong, the momentum could be being held by buyers, and we have a strong low here alongside with the 15-minute change, 15-minute order block that could induce a reversal early as well. So I'm hopeful for the higher high before coming down, just like I am with Bitcoin, where I want this inverse head and shoulders to kind of play out. I'm not going to trade the inverse head and shoulders, but I want it to play out so we can get back above the value area high and prepare for that change of character occurrence and acceptance back inside the value area so we can short it back inside the active range. Chainlink has a lot of pairing liquidity with Bitcoin. So if you're going to trade it, I recommend splitting your screen so you have Bitcoin on one side and Chainlink on the other. So you can use Bitcoin as an indicator to help give you an edge in knowing what kind of bias you should have. So if Bitcoin's bias is looking short, your bias with Chainlink, it would help you to use that confluence to also think short. Lou asking if you can look at Litecoin. Yeah. Kyle, how are you, bro? Doing great, man. Thank you. So Litecoin, we've got a Litecoin chart. We get that internal break right here. LTC. Okay, so last time we looked at Litecoin was May 22nd. That was a little while ago. Go back on the hourly. What did we last look at? We had this awkward descending channel. We fell back into this previous value area here. So I see what you're saying. You see ascending channel on the 15-minute time frame? It's right. So this is what he's talking about in the chat. Got this ascending support. We came to the value area high of this previous structure, and we're at a previous value area low. Now, if ignoring this, I know because some people struggle with their fixed range volume profiles. If you ignore this and we just pretend that this is brand new price action and we don't know anything about historical value areas, we could begin a fixed range volume profile pull, a reliable one. You can technically do it now from here to here, right? Include the supply concern that just got mitigated a bit. So you include here to where we currently are for our fixed range volume profile pull. But when it becomes super reliable is when we get the change of character occurrence right here. So if we break this level and we pull our fixed range during that moment, the value area data becomes a lot more dependable on seeing the value area low, POC, value area high being honored from the active price action instead of using the historical price action. But yeah, that's our current key level right now. This is the hourly. Let's zoom in on the 15-minute so you can find anything a little bit sooner. So here, we got a little demand zone here. Right? We got this impulse move, base, impulse move, little demand zone. We just mitigate the full thing here. We did get the change of character occurrence, but with a wick. So its positioning gives me the same kind of vibes as Link. Sorry, right? Awkward kind of positioning, but if Litecoin breaks this, if Chainlink breaks this key level, we'll probably fall fast because we have a local volume gap here and fair value gap as well that could help induce a faster move. Whereas Litecoin, we have a bunch of magnets along the way down. We could have just as quickly as we came up, we could go down. So it could be a sluggish kind of drop because we have lots of stacked liquidity throughout this whole area here and here and here. So here we could see people enter based on that liquidity or exit. But typically we fall all the way down to where the liquidity ends. And yeah, using the 15-minute structure, we want to have a 15-minute candle close below here. So if we get the close below there, our chances of a continuation is a lot higher. You just got to watch the barriers along the way down, which is quite a bit, unfortunately. So you're gonna have this is one of those trades where you have to babysit it a lot because this regression trend is relatively tight. So you could set an alarm near the value area high in case it's on our support. If it's on our support, we could come up and hit the value area low again. I would use a fib pull from that level to here. If we get that confirmed reversal, like a 3-minute change of character or like a 5-minute change of character, at that point you can pull a fib from this high to that low and see where it could pull back to. And if it's aligned with the momentum in the value area, previous value area low, you have some confluence there for a Fibonacci short. And then we could have a bigger structure to induce a reversal, which is insanely common when you lose momentum. So we have you can either trade this break or cross your fingers for the pullback and then just jump in on the low time frame change of character occurrence near the previous value low and momentum, and you'll get a better R&R on that. My fear is if you jumped in on this is that you can get stopped out depending on where your stop loss guard is before it continues to go back down further. But my bias for Litecoin is bearish, just like Bitcoin. So we kind of want it to do something similar to what we want Bitcoin to do. We want to have a little bit of a higher high before coming down. But you can technically trade this. Just be a little bit more lenient with your stop loss. Give it a lot of breathing room in case we get that pullback. And don't let the emotions scare you out if that pullback occurs. It's still technically a 1 to 2 if you take the break. but you could get something better, like a 1 to 4, getting on the Fibonacci setup, and still using this high here as your stop loss guard. Especially if you're getting in the Fibonacci level. If I'm anticipating a reversal here, you can kind of visualize where you get your pull from and be like roughly around there. In line with that value area, like I said. Yeah. Okay, so that is Litecoin. I hope that helps you out. So yeah, I'm in bear mode for Litecoin. I'm in bear mode for most of these assets right now. Short term bullish, but preparing for a bearish setup. News at 10 a.m. Jolt's job openings might have an impact on the charts. Be careful for sharp moving up or down. Thanks, man. Yeah. Always be on the lookout for on Forex Factory. See what times, what kind of USD impacting news could come out. Because anything that packs the US dollar will impact anything that you're trading, any assets that you're trading with on in the space. A lot of things are paired with USDT now, so it impacts liquidity now these days. If you were here about, I don't know, like 10 years ago when we didn't have USDT, then it'd be a little bit different. But even trading against US dollar, you'll still see an impact against Bitcoin. Everything's inversely correlated to the US dollar. Okay, Teo. We need to do Solana first, then we can do Teo. Open Solana. Okay, last time we looked at it was on the 30th of May. It's about 3 days ago. What were we looking at? Probably something bearish at that time. Once my thing wants to load. Taking its sweet time. May 30th. Well, we don't got anything marked down for the 30th. I know we were preparing for this potential long here. We got that like stiletto kind of double bottom rounding pattern forming, but every one of those that we saw at that time broke to the downside. We never got that confirmation. We broke this downtrending momentum. Then we went range bound, built this inverse head and shoulders right here, or triple bottom, and got above a key level. We're inside of a volume gap right now. Between here and here is a huge volume gap. I'll zoom out again just so you guys can see it on the daily. Yeah, this is where we typically move really quickly. On the day, on the lower time frames, it may not seem quickly, but on the daily, we almost never stay in here. We move quickly each and every single time we get through this area. And we did again here, 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 and here, came in and out, broke right through it, and now we're coming back up. So I'm anticipating that we either see this act as a form of resistance up here and pull us back, the same kind of, the opposite of what we saw here, right? Came in, then came back out. We'll come in, come back out, or we blast to the other side and hopefully close above this area. So either A, where it does what we kind of want Bitcoin to do, right? We come up quickly, then reverse, right? We want Bitcoin to come up, then reverse. Pretty much want everything to do that, position itself for a good position for short. We got this momentum here, really steep. So this momentum suggests that we might get up there within the next 7 hours. If we instead get this higher high come in, we're in the 30-minute time frame right now. Let's go into the 15. So we get this higher high, sweep that liquidity. Solana loves to give SFPs, so we might get an SFP off this area. To get an SFP here, we need to mark this wick. Let's get our magnet tool. Make sure you have it stuck right to the top of the wick so you have the right price. Then get your horizontal line here, array, mark the bodies. So what we want to have happen here, which could happen within the next 15 minutes or so, or even the next 7 minutes, price action to come up, grab that liquidity, close back inside the range with the exact same candle, and that would be a potential front run to the strong low break, the internal one. So they get the internal break, then we can potentially see it come down to this low while being super mindful of this VWAP along the way. But yeah, that's what I'll be waiting for. Something like this. Grab liquidity, close back inside the range, target here. Every SFP's target, the measurable target is always the most recent active low or high, depending if you're trading long or short. So prepare for the low. We break that, we get the internal change of character. We can come down, hit this. If we break this level, then we can get that acceptance back inside this value area right here. So we should pull a fixed range. Get a fixed range volume profile from here to here. So this would be a deviation of the value area for confluence of this short. And then, yeah, that break will bring us to the value high. Then we want that break of structure to bring us to the value area low. So it's looking, yeah, I would say prepare for shorts too with Solana. So we got this level here. If we don't get this, if we instead get the body close above this, you could still wait for an SFP here. Solana is great at giving SFPs, which is a good sign of liquidity, by the way. Like if you see lots of SFPs on assets, it's a good sign of market maker activity and liquidity. So if we get this one, if we don't get this one, we can go for this one. And the invalidation point for this, if you guys aren't aware, is just basically like if you get a body candle close above the wick. So get that body candle close above this, we're likely going to get a continuation because that price acceptance is a warning of a potential continuation. Okay, so that is Solana. I hope that helps. Let's go to the next request, which is Teo. I just want to snapshot this really quick and just in case anyone's not in the live, I just want to post it inside here really quick. Okay, and Teo, let's grab. Let's go to the Binance chart. Ooh, Teo's got that inverse head and shoulders kind of vibes going on. Descending channel, fighting against the 50-day. Nice, okay. Is that a wick? That's a wick. Nasty. How big is that wick? That's a 16%. Jeez. I'm not sure if that only happened on Binance, but that kind of liquidity sweep makes things a little bit more bearish. Let's see. Yeah, we tapped all that. Tapped all that out. Let's delete that. Oh, this is the back here we had a falling wedge structure. And to define a position of strength, to make sure we actually hit the target of the falling wedge, we needed to break this level. And we tapped into it. We never got the close above it. It's being a little butthead. So let's delete that. Right now, we are coming into a demand zone. We got quite a bit of confidence for a reversal, like internal reversal. We got a previous value area high here. Cool. And we're at the 200-day EMA where we have a crossing, a golden cross. So we have the 50 crossing over the 200-day. So if the 50-day and the 200-day cross, so the 50 goes above the 200, that's called a golden cross. Lots and lots and lots of traders and algorithmic bots react off that kind of event, and they just buy. So, and when they cross to the downside, they sell. And you'd be surprised how, I know how basic that sounds, but you'd be surprised how well that works out, especially on Bitcoin. Like the win rate on Bitcoin is just stupid. I think it only has like 1 or 2 lost scenarios for those events. You want to catch the next elevator. Yeah, so this is kind of the next level here. We have, we could have another leg up. We're just testing this demand zone here. We have lots of confluence here. The price action is really ugly, but if we zoom in on the lower time frames, we can use the momentum as a guide to help potentially bring us to this neckline. It won't be the next elevator up, but yeah, if we break these highs, that's what you're going to try to front run. This is what you want to front run right here. So if we get in the internal change of character here, we target this high, hope for the break. If the break occurs, then we got this little bit of liquidity here we got to worry about. But this is like then the final boss to allow you to get that next big move up. And if we get that next big move up, then this value area data here had a lot of influence over the price action. So I'd be cautious. You want to see acceptance around 516 so we can get that full rotation up to like 607. But let's go to the lower time frame so we can see how we can front run it. So on the 15-minute, we've got, this is a fractal that a lot of traders like to trade. We have that V-shaped recovery, slow climb down, right? Stacking a bunch of liquidity to give reasoning for market makers to want to drive the price back up. So this is, whenever you see this, fast move up, slow climb down, it's usually very, very bullish. They do sometimes break to the downside, but if you get that change of character occurrence, it's a really good long opportunity. The momentum I'd monitor is the evolving momentum here, where the pace of the sellers like slow down. Right here. Let's see what it looks like here. Yeah. You want to get as many, when it comes to momentum, your goal is to get as many body touches as possible, as you possibly can. 2 is unreliable, but you can monitor it and see if there's sell walls. But 3 or more is a lot more reliable because other traders like retail can help. It is predictable enough for retail to see. So they would sometimes help with the sell walls and contribute to it, making the market maker's job a lot easier. But usually the first 1 or 2 taps is induced by a market maker. We got super low time frame crunch here. I don't like the VWAP being right in our face. So we could break this to the upside. The probability of it breaking to the upside is higher than going down. If we break this, we can see that we clearly have a sell wall here without even looking at the order books. When you see a flat line resistance like that, that's induced by either a whale trying to get out or a market maker trying to suppress the price action to induce more and more liquidity. But if we break past this, we get a full body candle close, the measurable target would likely just bring us right to this supply concern. We'll find out. It's like here, from here to here, to the point of break. Yeah, so it'll likely just bring us right to the bottom of the supply concern here. alongside with the downtrending momentum. So where it's the momentum suggesting exhaustion is pretty much where the sellers are probably waiting. But we have the confluence of the 50-day, inverse head and shoulders. But the only thing I don't like is just that VWAP. So it could induce a pullback, retest, and higher high. So just be mindful of that kind of move. If you'd rather, I would prefer it. If you'd rather wait for it to pull back first, then give you that break of structure. So you get that close above the VWAP. Then you don't have to worry about that VWAP. Even though you're getting it at a higher price, you could likely still get good risk to reward ratio. You have close to like a 1 to 2-ish. Yeah, to that momentum. So that's tail. I hope that helps. But I'm kind of, yeah, I'm bullish on it. Kind of like this is, yeah. So the positioning is similar to Bitcoin, honestly. We want it to go up, but prepare for a drop, right? Bitcoin going back here, inverse head and shoulders. We want it to go up, but prepare for a drop. What about the daily view on, oh, you're talking about with tail? Oh, I can't check right now, man. Virtual and Ethereum. I'll go back to Teo to check on the daily in a moment. Virtual. Checked on this on the 30th. It's about 3 days ago. Okay. Let's yeah, so if we get the lower low here, we're getting squeezed right now for virtual. So we could be building a bear pennant for a continuation, unfortunately. And that would bring us to the target of ascending or rising wedge here, which kind of whipsaw both directions, but we kind of anticipate that we get a rejection here if we got that breakout anyways. I'm going to delete this, delete that. We don't need it. We have the previous value area data helping us. We can use this horizontal array on the POC. We don't have that labeled yet. Can mark our own value area data. The value area high is basically flush. The POC and the value area low are in line with the previous POC. Over here, we got getting that break of momentum here. It could help induce a move up a little higher, but yeah, the squeeze is technically bearish, which sucks to say because I really like virtuals, but I do want to accumulate more. So I will probably buy into the drop when we get down and establish support. So once we find a good bottom, I'm hoping to grab some down here at 168 near the 50-day EMA because I want to stake this in the liquidity pool. And Virtual's got a pretty awesome liquidity pool going on right now where you can stake it and you would get airdrops of anything that's built on their network if it qualifies, or if that AI agent or AI token decides to donate to the liquidity pool, then if you stake virtuals, you'll get some of the rewards. But you also earn more virtuals too. But yeah, internally, looks like we're trying to get a rotation up higher. We're losing against the VWAP right now. If we get that higher high, grab that liquidity, we can come right back down to the value area low and maybe tap further below this value area low off this momentum and come back up to continue the squeeze a little bit further. The apex point is way over here on the 6th. So it's suggesting that we could be in this range for another 3 more days. But we do tend to break out 30% prior to the apex point with most crypto assets. Crypto is famous for being impatient, so we tend to break out sooner rather than make it all the way to the apex point like you normally would see a lot more with in stocks. So if you're trading stocks, we tend to get right to that squeeze apex point before we have that violent move. And it's like it's a battle of liquidity. So if you're wondering how to control your bias when you see structures like this, and you don't want to use um, statistics based on positioning. So like the positioning based on the statistics here is bearish. So we're coming in from a downtrend, like a local downtrend like this, and we build a pennant like this, we tend to have a continuation. But if you don't, if you're not aware of the statistical direction, one way to find out is just look at the liquidity. Where is most of the liquidity stacking? Is it on the downside or is it on the upside? Just because we have more taps here doesn't mean there's more liquidity up here. There could be less trade participants up here. So yeah, look at the heat map for virtuals and find out and see where most of the liquidity is weighted. And that can help you with your bias of direction. But always wait for your structural confirmation before taking action anyways. Internal momentum here. Okay, so that's virtuals. Not much to go on right now, but this could virtuals does look like it's preparing for a bigger move soon. There's a oh yeah, so we got a question here. There's plenty of times where it had been breaked out one way on a flag, and then once we're at the point beyond the flag, it goes back other way entirely. Yeah, so that's we don't so not every measurable target needs to be hit. So that's when it's really important to pay attention to liquidity. So if you end up having a bunch of liquidity stacking here or here, here or here or here, for example, and we end up having that break and we just grab that liquidity, we have to be mindful of high liquidity zones because that could be an area where people can use that liquidity as exit liquidity to allow them to get out of the market or entry liquidity for coming down. So you always have to prepare for potential reversals and for it to maintain the range. You can trade the break, but you got to be aware that we're still in a value area and we could get a reversal off the value area high after grabbing liquidity. So yeah, you're right, man. You got to be super cautious when you're trading like things based on structure like this when we have an apex point. So just be super aware of liquidity. Where could the reversals occur? If you get that opposing change of character, listen to the market because it's basically telling you that we could reverse from that point. So it's best to try to front run the break and not actually trade the break itself. So for example, shorting at the value area high to prepare for the break of the low, or longing at the value area low in confluence with the momentum, for example, to prepare for the break to the upside here. So as we get closer and closer to that 30% level to the apex point, you're going to get the confidence of the breakout is going to get higher and higher. So that's when you got to really prepare for the front run for the break and set your alarms to prepare for that break. So you can babysit it during that moment. So if you end up getting that opposing change of character, you can listen to the market and get out rather than stay in for the hopium of the structural trend move. But yeah, it's a good point, man. And that's what a lot of beginners get their butt kicks from. The first thing they usually learn is formations. Like when you look up trading and you look at the images section on like Google or something like that, you're always going to see stuff like this. You're not going to see like valley areas or the VWAP or order blocks or anything like that. You're going to see formations when you look it up. Because the formations are the pictures that are painted by the market maker. So that's what they want you to learn. So it's our goal to trade alongside the market maker and basically be their nightmare. Okay, so we looked at virtuals, we looked at Solana, we looked at Link, we looked at Litecoin, we looked at Teo, we looked at CBCN, Cubic. I got about 15 minutes before I got to jump on the coaching call with the community. We're going to be trade hunting together. Ethereum. Okay. Yeah, Ethereum. Thank you. Pull that up. We looked at that yesterday. What were we preparing for? It was like a long, right? Yeah, it was a long. So with Ethereum, we got what I wanted to have occur kind of front run a little bit, a little awkward. But yeah, we built this like basically triple bottom or inverse head and shoulders posture here. We're in a larger valley area, like right here. If you zoom out a bit, we can see where it started. Oh yeah, we were getting pressed against the valley area low, preparing for a long. We got that break. The measurable target was here, and that's defined based on the momentum of the structure. So the momentum came from the resistance here to the most recent support bounce. You click and you drag it. You bring it to the point of the breakout, and that will tell you where momentum was likely going to get exhausted. And we can see that we're now range bound against the value area high. This positioning is just as awkward as Bitcoin's, of course. We want to get higher a little bit here. We got the VWAP right in our face. We are building a bit of a bear flag. So like the probability of it coming down is higher than it going up. But if we break past this VWAP like we want Bitcoin to do, then we can get that return back up to the value high, grab the liquidity from this high, and then we can prepare for hopefully the opposing change of character around this level, and then short it back down to at least the POC. But if we get past that point of control, then we can target the value area low again and just continue this ping pong back and forth range bound price action. That's what I'm kind of waiting for. Let's zoom out a little bit on Ethereum. A little bit of a ascending channel. We got this. We can delete that. That was for an SFP. And we got this ascending channel here. So I would monitor the uptrending support and the uptrending resistance. See if there's a buy wall and a sell wall just chasing it. We could find that out right now. I think Ethereum's got good tools that we could use. This is the 4-hour levels. We get the resistance here. Pull up the order books for a second. There we go. Okay. We probably do not have enough liquidity to be any market maker's nightmare. You'd be surprised what some people in the community could do. You may not have very much funds, but with enough leverage and volume, you could mitigate an entire liquidity area. It takes $40 million worth of volume. So when you have 200, 300 people trading alongside each other, it's definitely possible. You'd be surprised. So here we got a sell wall. Oh, that's Bitcoin. Let's go with Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum doesn't have very much conviction. So we got a lot of buyers waiting, but not very many sellers waiting. So at 2260. Get these coordinates. Way down there. Man, everyone's just waiting down here to buy at this local support level. People being greedy. Yeah. Lots of buyers waiting down here. Jeez. So like the technical target for this structure, if it were to, maintain itself, constantly grabbing liquidity from the upside and stacking more to the downside, will have more reasoning to come down and grab that liquidity here. But people are trying to mostly get in right around here. It's kind of surprising. Zoom in on the, let's go back to that for a second. You can change the decimal rate to 1. See what we have locally. So 2556. 2556. Okay, so we have the local buyers are waiting here, basically at this point control for Ethereum. So if we could see something like this come down, bounce off that buy wall, come back up. But yeah, people are waiting at this neckline for a pullback. Now that could change and evolve relatively quickly, so you got to keep an eye on it. But yeah, most of the local buyers are waiting right here. Let me undo that, actually. Let's keep that on there. Just mark it as a Ethereum. A buy wall here. The buy walls are great for confluence, by the way, especially Fibonacci confluence. If you see a buy wall or a sell wall, let's say there's like a 618 or a 786 in a key level, like right here, for example. You could anticipate the sellers honoring this by looking at the order book. So if you see a massive sell wall, like use that in confluence with your shorts. But with the walls, they help you identify potential front runs as well. So if you see a front run to it, you could use that as a tool to help guide you into knowing whether or not you should wait. Okay, so we went through everything on the list. I do have a call in about 10 minutes. Someone did ask for me to look at the daily for Teo, so I'm going to take a peek at that quick. Still awkwardly chugging along that key level that we marked. Let's look at the daily. Oh, we already looked at the daily. Yeah. Yeah, above the 200, the 50 EMA, getting above this demand zone here. We got to bounce off of it here. And we're coming back to retest the 50 EMA for a hopeful break of that internal momentum to bring us back to this neckline to get a rotation back up here. So yeah, Iteo is positioning itself for a potential front run for a good move. Yeah, break. Hopefully grab liquidity from at least here. Maybe get a continuation here. Break that double bottom structure so we can start targeting up here. And then get another big leg back up to potentially as high as 607, but we have to get past 516 first. Yeah, sorry, I thought we didn't go over that, but I guess we did. Any quick questions before I got to go, guys? I do have to head out to another community live. I don't see anything in the chat. We have got 38 people on YouTube, 43 on X watching. Yeah, don't feel shy. You can ask any questions you want. Can we pay your membership in Bitcoin? Sorry, man. We can't. Maybe in the future it'd be great. But right now there isn't very many tools that allow automated withdrawals. I did do a partnership with a platform called Sub Protocol, which has like a smart contract system that pulls funds that you leave inside of a wallet once a month based on the allowed amount, which is insanely innovative. But yeah, it kind of acts like a prepaid credit card where you kind of like top it up and you add funds to it, and it allows them to take it out. But yeah, it was really buggy, so we didn't really continue with it. Maybe when they get their bugs all fixed, we can start doing payments in Bitcoin. Can it go below 366? We're talking about tail. I know we have to break the 50 EMA and get acceptance in the previous value area. 366. So below this low here. Yeah, we need to have acceptance into this value. I'm on a different chart, I guess, right now. I'm on the BitGet chart. But in order for that to occur, yeah, we need to have acceptance into this value area here. This is your core barrier. See, here we didn't get proper acceptance. We came down. Let me just mark this level quick. Like what you normally want to see is price action to come up, hit it as resistance, and give you a lower low. If we got like that brick of structure near this key level, then we could rotate down to 351. But you have right now the barrier of the local support, the 50-day EMA, the 200-day EMA, this previous low where liquidity is resting to all induce a reversal. So you have 3 barriers before that occurs. So if you were to roll a dice right now and make a prediction of where you think this is likely to go based on the barriers, it's more likely to go up. But yeah, if we do end up going down, this is your next barrier of concern around like 350. So yeah, we could go lower, but it's not as likely as going up, especially if we break this VWAP. Okay. Likes, if people. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, you guys have yourself an amazing day. I do gotta go. I got a call with the community. You have yourself an amazing day. If I find something safe, you know, I will signal it inside the community there. But again, just a quick refresh. We are waiting for Bitcoin to position itself above the value area high for a short. We are currently internally bullish. We have this inverse head and shoulders momentum picking up, but the reason why I'm not trading this is because A, we're inside of a value area like this. It decreases your probability of being right. We are coming against a VWAP. VWAP is king. Listen to the VWAP because every time I don't, I get my ass kicked. So yeah, listen to the VWAP. If we break past that, we want to use the VWAP in confluence with a change of character and acceptance into the value area. So we're just waiting for structure here to define a reversal. And then we can start targeting the value area low here at 1039. But along the way, we need to have alarm. I have alarm already set here at 104932. That could induce a reversal. Think of this like the front run level to a POC. It's the volume shelf right prior to the POC. So we got to watch this along the way. That's where we got our most recent bounce, if that helps. But if we break past this and get that continuation, then we don't need to babysit the trade as much because then this will become a good capital guard for our active position. And moving our stop losses will be a lot more safer if we get below this point of control. And then at that point, getting to the value area low will be much, much easier. So this is going to be like the big boss that we need to fight in order for us to hit our primary target. But the risk to reward ratio of this trade to here should still be very good, even if we're forced out with an opposing change character. So that's what I'm waiting for, guys. I hope that helps you out with your setups today. You have yourself an amazing day. Please like, subscribe, follow. We're trying to grow to our next goal, which is 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys can follow, that'd be awesome. And I'll do my best to constantly keep trying to help you guys out with your trades. I'm live every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, usually until 9:30 to sometimes like 10 a.m. So about an hour and a half to 2 hours each day. But yeah, have a great day and thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye.